Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Apocalypse the Geek Guru, and today I'm unfortunately talking about the Halo TV series. Now, this show sucks. Don't watch it. Paramount, you suck for doing this to Halo. Uh, so, the show starts off with a flashback to another flashback. Like, I don't care about their past. Like, I really don't. It, so the episode starts off with a flashback showing us the woman who's leading the Covenant. I don't know her name. I don't care. I don't even. I think they just call her the Blessed One. I'm not gonna call her that. But it shows that she lived on some crappy human world, which probably explains why she hates humans so much because she was treated poorly by them. I don't care. Like I don't I don't care. She's a terrible character who doesn't need to exist. I could say that about like a lot of the people on this show. Like they're just terrible characters who don't need to exist. So blah blah blah. The Covenant find her, and they're like, "Oh, this is the one we're looking for." They have some artifact that like led them to her. Why? Don't know. Don't care. So she's getting dressed, blah blah blah, and the prophets are like all in her room, all talking to her, like, "Oh, you gonna be okay? You can do this." And she's just like, "Oh, I'm not just gonna bring you the artifact. I'm gonna bring you the head of the demon." Jesus Christ. Oh man, you can tell how much I just love this show. So blah blah blah. Then it cuts to Miranda Keys, and she's like looking at a hologram of the artifact, and she's talking to the Admiral lady, and then the Admiral lady's just like blah blah blah. You're gonna have a separate team, who's gonna work on this thing, whatever. I don't care because it's like, what's her name? Miranda Keys isn't supposed to be like a scientist or some shit. She's a commander. She's Commander Keys. Like, whatever. So then it cuts to that. It's like they just had to have like her compete with Halsey for some reason. Why? Don't know. Don't care. So then it cuts to Halsey and she's having a weird conversation with her clone. Another character that had no reason to, like, just no reason to have in here, her clone, because she dies in this episode. Spoiler alert. They didn't need her at all. Oh my god. So she solves this real simple looking puzzle, and then she's just like, and that's supposed to make her seem super smart. Like she puts together this puzzle. It's like it's this massive thing that it's like obviously that would obviously be like they wanted to show her doing something smart, but they were like, we don't have the we don't have the intelligence to come up with something. So we're just gonna have her solve this really simple puzzle that she can just easily do, that the actress can just easily do. Like, oh my god. So whatever. They're just talking about how like, oh, she's gonna become Cortana and she's gonna work with John, this and that, blah blah blah. So they bring her in. They have the Master Chief in a gown, like a hospital gown. He's completely out of his armor, completely. It gets worse. He gets naked in this episode for no reason either. He has no reason to get completely naked. All he has to do is take his shirt off just to get at the little hormone pellet or whatever at his back. He doesn't need to take his pants off. Like what the fuck? Like Paramount, what are you doing? So blah blah blah. They kill the clone and then transfer her brain into this little pot like ball thing or whatever. And then they drill a hole into the Master Chief's head and put the ball in there. And now Cortana's like can hear him. Like he can hear Cortana and she's there and she can like take control of him if she wants. And she can for some reason just hologram herself wherever. I guess they had to give the actress more face time. You know, because like so he's got like a hologram projector on his suit. Like when they're in the lab, that's one thing. I mean, I'm sure they've shown that they have like hologram stuff all over the lab. So like it would make sense for her to be, to show up there. Because like it didn't make sense when they did that in the games. In like Halo 4, I think, where she would just like appear in his hand, and it's like what well, I guess he would take out the thing and like the little disk drive or whatever that she's on. And so I guess maybe that had like some sort of holographic protector. But she would like, so yeah, I don't know. And she just looks so weird. And I'm wondering why the hell does she speak like Cortana when she's Cortana, but not when she's Dr. Halsey? Dr. Halsey doesn't have a freaking British accent. She talks just like oh my God, Paramount, what are you doing? You have no idea what you're doing. Oh my God. So blah blah blah. Cortana's just like, hey, what am I here for? And Halsey's like, oh, you're gonna analyze the artifact, whatever. And then the show goes even more downhill. It goes back to Short Round, and she's on the rubble, complaining about how, blah blah blah, the Madrigal. That's her whole freaking arc. It's just, oh, Madrigal, I love my planet. Madrigal's in trouble. I don't care. Why do you keep showing her? No one wanted her there in the first place. And then Dave Chappelle, he's talking to Short Round, and she's just like, oh, I want to go to Madrigal, asshole. And she calls him an asshole, and then he gets like real, like angry, and like after she calls him an asshole, like it's, oh God, what was that movie? Hancock. It's like Hancock. He literally stops and turns around. He's like, because of John, I'm not gonna crush your skull. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you're not gonna? That was excessive. What the hell? So that Master Chief doesn't have his helmet on the entire episode. He doesn't put his helmet on at all. Like, oh my God. So Dr. Halsey's talking to like Master Chief, explaining Cortana and how she's gonna help him out. Which is true. She does help him out in battle and stuff like that in the games. But I don't like the way she was like, do you want to meet her? And he's like, not particularly, no. Like, he's just too human. He's just some guy. He's not the Master Chief. He's just some dude. Could be anybody. Like, it's so terrible. And I don't like how he doesn't like Cortana and he's just like completely opposed to her. Like, in the games, they're supposed to be like companions, friends, even by like, yeah, by the end of the first game, they're friends. They're supposed to be like partners, comrades in arms, whatever. So then it cuts to UNSC ship, finds a drifting ship, and it turns out that the woman, the cursed one, whatever, it's all a trap. And they do this annoying thing where it's like they show a hunter is with her. Like, let me show you. They show a hunter, like that's all we could see of the hunter, like just its legs, and the Legolo worms. But that is literally it. That's all we get to see of the hunter, and they just use the worms and to attack everybody. And I'm just like and I hate this. I hate when they did it in Nightfall too, because it's like they show the okay for anyone who doesn't know, the hunters from Halo, the big dudes with the arm and the spikes and all this stuff, they aren't just they aren't one big thing or like two big things. They're a colony of little worms. Well, I say little. They're like, about that big, So they're a colony of worms that come together and they, they form like a body kind of. And she has them just attack as the worms and they're freaking vicious. They're like a wave that just tackles and goes through everybody. And I'm just like, I hate when they do that because every time I'm just like, why don't they just do that? Why have them in the big Gestalt forms instead of just having them wreak havoc? Because they're very efficient at just tearing through people. And it would be, even for a Spartan, it would be kind of difficult for them to because they're just so many and they just swarm. It would be difficult for them to really do anything. They would have to go back and keep their distance and shoot all of them. But yeah, it would be. I'm just like, why don't they just do that? Why don't they totally? When they did that in Nightfall, I was just like, why? You totally messed up the hunters. Because the whole reason they... I just hate when they do that with the hunters. When they're like, let's just have them attack with, as the worms. And I hate how they showed the hunter, its leg, and then we're like, nah, we're not going to show the hunter. We're not going to show the whole thing. So... whatever. Then it cuts to Halsey, and she's doing an experiment with John touching the artifact. He's touching the artifact, and then we see, and he's just in shorts, not shorts. He's just in a t-shirt and pants and oh my god. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it, because it's just so. There he is. There's the Master Chief. What the hell? Oh my god. So yeah, and then it shows more flashbacks to his family. I don't care. No one cares about who the Master Chief was before he was the Master Chief. The earliest anybody cares is when he's on Reach getting his training when he's a kid. I don't care about who he was before that. He was just some kid. And now they're trying to make it like he was some special dude. It's like, no. He was just a soldier. He wasn't some special guy who found an artifact when he was a kid. No. He was just some guy who got taken into a program. It became a badass soldier on his own. There was nothing special porn about it. No, he did all that shit on his own. Through his own perseverance. The only thing that they talk about that it makes him kind of special in the books, and they go over this a little bit in the beginning of the game of Halo 3, is that he's lucky. That's it. He's just kind of lucky, That's literally it. He just has a bit of luck to him, That's all they ever talk about in the game. He's not some special blessed one, the chosen one. So whatever. He has flashbacks, and then they finish that, and then it cuts back. That's when it cuts back to the cursed one, and she uses the worms to just tear through everybody. Let me show you. Look at this. I mean, they're literally just swooping down, taking people out. Look at that. What the hell? It's why even have the hunter if they can do this? I just hate when they show them like that. It just takes away. And and here's another thing. She's just walking through. Nobody shoots her. Not a single person is hey, maybe we should shoot her. She seems kind of important. Nope, she just walks on through like, I am woman, hear me roar. Like, oh my God. Stop it. So she tries to interrogate the captain, and he's just like, "Oh, you'll never get anything from me." And she has this weird. I gotta show you all this stupid shit in the show. What the hell is this? She's got like a finger blade. Like, that could be dangerous, if you know what I mean. Like, what the hell? She's just like, you. Yeah, that's perfect right there. They just. It's like, guys, the toilet's broken. It's overflowing. Quit shitting. Quit just dumping shit onto this fucking thing. Oh man. Ah. So the Master Chief walks around and he sees some Marines, and they're playing this weird game. I don't know. They're throwing balls and sand. I'm not even kidding. That's what they're doing. It looks like they're just throwing metal balls and sand. And everyone's like, "Hey, look, it's the Master Chief. It's the Master Chief. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's back." And it's like, how do they even know he's the Master Chief? He's not in his armor. He's got his helmet off. He's just there. So whatever. And then that's it. He's just there. That's this whole show. He's just there doing things. So then it goes to, he walks into the barracks of the Spartans. Like, the Spartans have their own, like, barracks and stuff. And it's kind of interesting because, like, they're playing, two of them are playing, like, this, like, 4-level chess thing or whatever. And another one is playing, like, a memory game. And I just love the idea, like, that's what they do in their spare time. They, like, they do, like, thought games and, like, strategy stuff and memory games. Whereas the other, like, the Marines are just, like, throwing balls and sand and, like, having a time of their lives, too. They're like, just, whoa, whoa! They're showing the difference between the Spartans and the Marines, and that the Spartans are very machine-like in the way that they act. And then the Master Chief is just like, they have this really cringy scene where the Master Chief is just like, "Hey, I'm back, if anyone wants to say anything, please say something, guys, talk. Can we talk out our feelings, guys? Okay?" Like, and then Cortana comes, like, he's like, "All right," and they're just like, I love how the one dude is just like, "We've been briefed. Like, we know what's up. It's all good." And that's it. Like, he's just like, "We've been briefed." And then Master Chief's just like, "Well, all right." And then he's about to walk away, and then Cortana pops out, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, I'm Cortana." And again, it's super cringy. He's just like, "What are you doing? Go get back, get out, get out." And he gets flustered, and like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Freaking Master Chef. The show sucks. And then it cuts to Short Round, and she's sitting there with Dave Chappelle's kid, and he's just like, showing her the stars and this and that, and he's just like, "Oh, Madrigal's over there." And then it's funny, the woman who's definitely not the woman from Fantastic Beasts, she walks up and she's just like, she looks out the window and goes, "I never look out this window." I thought that was really funny. She's literally just like, "I never look out this window," while looking out the window. Whatever. And then she's just like, "Oh, the people who destroyed my planet, they didn't destroy my spirit, blah, 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 blah." And Short Round's just like, "Oh, I can't sit here and pretend that nothing else is out that window. I gotta save Madrigal." That should be like Just like a T-shirt that she wears. I gotta save Madrigal because that's her whole freaking thing. And then she and the woman is just like, "But you could die," and she goes, "The universe would be less without you." And I couldn't help but I burst out laughing when she said that because it's like, no, I think the universe would be better off without her because she's a terrible person. She was willing to lie about the fact that the UNSC saved her ass just because of like, oh, feelings, my daddy, woo woo woo. She's a terrible person. So the Master Chief is sitting there trying to search up stuff on the computer. Cortana's just like, I can do this. You don't seem to be very good at this, but I'm good at this. And it's like, yeah, she is more intelligent and better. That's what she's for, doing, interfacing with technology and stuff. But it's like they just had to show, like, the Master Chief can't even search something up. But, he's just, like, that incompetent. So he starts talking about his feelings and how he feels the memories and this and that. God. And so she's just like, hey, I can bring up a list of planets. And he's just like, oh, yeah, do that. So he looks up one of the planets and he's just like, oh, we lost one of our Spartans there. And he's just like, but I don't really care. And that's when he's just like, he goes and he takes off his pellet. He takes out his pellet. He's got, takes out his little hormone pellet, which I knew they were going to do. And for some reason, he's got to get naked to do it. Now, because this is YouTube, I'm not going to show him naked. Oh, man. He's literally, like, it wasn't bad enough that they took off his helmet in the first episode. Now it's episode 3. No, and then in the second episode, he's out of his armor. Now he's in the third episode, he's completely naked. Completely naked. Oh my god. But and one of the other Spartan, the blonde Spartan, she's like watching him. She's weird. She's like watches him take his pellet out and she's just like, oh, what has he done? Blah blah blah. So then the Master Chief starts walking around the base and like, he doesn't have his pellet in anymore, so he's like experiencing the world the way that we do, instead of having like all of his emotions suppressed. He's just like, oh, wow. And he's just walking around in like this weird shirt thing and pant and cargo pants. Whatever. He takes the train and stares at some couple. This is kind of a weird scene. He just kind of stares at this couple. He literally like looks at them and then he cocks his head like, what are they doing? And he goes and he goes to the park and watches some women playing the violin or something. I don't know. I'm not an instrument guy. And he picks up some guy's ball and he's just like, the guy's like, hey, that's mine. So, here you go. It's just so stupid and like, what is this? Like, hey, let's make the Master Chief like superhuman and take away all the cool and like everything that makes him cool. And I swear to God, I thought he was gonna cry when he was watching I swear to God, I thought he was gonna have like a tear drip down. And then he's just like, he sees a dog and he's like, oh, a dog. I had a dog. I keep seeing it. Blah blah blah. And he goes to the artifact and he has Cortana like hack the door so he can get into the artifact. And he touches it. And he sees his family and all this, and it turns out that he saw another artifact when he was a kid, and he drew it, this and that, and they buried it. And Cortana starts talking about his home planet and this and that, and how his home planet was like it was like a facility where a bunch of botanists and scientists went to live and see if they could make the planet habitable or whatever. And Cortana's just like, all of her everybody died. The program was terminated because of a plague or whatever. And the Master Chief's just like, what about my parents? And she's just like, oh, well, survivors were evacuated, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, what happened to my parents? My parents. What happened to my parents? dude. She's just like, oh, well, the planet was sealed off. And he's just like, and I swear to God, again, I thought he was going to cry or something. And like, a tear, oh, my parents. Oh my God. So Dr. Halsey walks in and she's like, well, Chief, what are you doing? And he starts like, starts not acting like the Master Chief at all. He's just like so erratic and just like, I saw this thing as a child. I saw it. I saw another thing. There's two of them. There's another artifact. I gotta go. I gotta go to the planet. And she's just like, oh, I'm gonna go with you. This and that. And then it cuts to a short round of Dave Chappelle, and she's just like, oh, she's trying to steal one of his spacecrafts. And she's just like, oh, I'm rich. You know, if you take me to Madrigal, I can pay you this and that. And he's just like, all right, whatever, I'll take you. I'll get paid either way, either by your people or by the bounty. I'd have just turned in the bounty, whatever. So then the Cursed One is trying to hack into the ship because she couldn't find anything on the ship about like humanity or anything like that, or where they took the Keystone or whatever. And she's just like, we're gonna go to Madrigal. And then it goes over to UNSC, and they intercepted the transmission, but it's like all garbled and stuff. So they're gonna have Miranda Keyes work on this too, because you know, not only can she figure out the ancient artifact, but she can speak Sangheili too. She can speak the alien language too. Whatever. So Captain Keyes tells her that, you know, Dr. Halsey's not going to be here, so, you know, you can do research in secret, you know, just keep it secret. Keep it safe. And then, I forgot to mention that Dr. Halsey's assistant scientist is like, they had to find like the most like the most like pervy looking dude they could find, and before they kill the clone and transfer her brain to Cortana, he like tries to kiss the clone for a second while she's like literally paralyzed. But before he can, Dr. Halsey walks in, and then they just never talk about it again. Which I knew he was going to do something like that. I knew he was going to do something like that. It's like, why? Why did you have to do that? Like, so then, blah, blah, blah. Dr. Halsey has this speech about reality or some shit. I don't know. I couldn't even be bothered to pay attention at that point. It's the end of the episode, so I was just like, I was totally checked out. And the guy says something about like, oh, if the Master Chief remembers what we did to him, you know, we could tear us all down. She's like, oh, that's what Cortana's for. Cortana can stop him, blah, blah, blah. I just don't like what they're doing, how they're making Cortana kind of like a spy against the Chief. You know, they're kind of like, he's like against the Chief. I just don't like how they're sort of like opposed to each other. And then the credits roll, and I was so happy when they did. So yeah, that's episode 3 of Hello, whatever the hell you want to call this, because it's not Halo. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah, Master Chief's naked, bare butt. And the short round's gonna go save a planet with Dave Chappelle. That I'd watch. That I'd watch. Oh man. So yeah, not much to really say about this. It's terrible. That's my takeaway. Now I'm gonna go play Halo. Unfortunately, I'm on Halo 5, which kind of sucks. Yeah, if you can follow me on Twitch, like I said, I'm playing through the Halo series right now. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll leave links in the description. And unfortunately, I'll be back next week to review this this steaming pile of excrement. Wednesday, I will be reviewing Moon Knight, which that show is actually good. I actually like Moon Knight. It's a good show. So hey, I wish that it came out tomorrow though, because it's like Wednesday. It's like, all right, Moon Knight, and then it's like, f me, tomorrow. Now I gotta watch Halo. I wish it was Halo and then Moon Knight, but it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, I'll be reviewing that Wednesday. It's really all I got. I've been Apocalyptic Geek Guru. Thank you all for watching.